I am John, a liquidator, and this is the Liquidator Report. So it looked like Venezuela dictator Nicolás Maduro has responded to President Trump in his efforts to slow down air traffic and to put an end to his basically invading our borders. Guys, over here, smash the like button, hype the video. We ain't gonna waste no time. We're gonna jump right into this thing right now. So there was a statement released from Nicolás Maduro. I believe this is it right here. Let's get this pulled up. And he responds to President Trump. Nicolás Maduro government reacts to Trump message regarding airspace. They described the measure as a hostile and illegal. So basically, he's saying what President Trump is doing is very illegal. And it states that through this action, the U.S. government has literally suspended flights of Venezuela migrants. So, but at the end of the day, man, Trump is doing what he has to do to keep our border safe. So, I don't know, man. So this is something else that was put out too. It's an interesting revelation on deportation by Maduro regime as they prohibited further deportation flights in the last 10 months of Trump administration. Just 14,000 Venezuelans have been deported to Venezuela. At this pace, only 53,000 Venezuelans will be removed over the next 3 years. TPS legal status was just removed from 500,000 people, and over 200,000 have no status and pending asylum. In other words, the only hope to remove illegal immigrants from Venezuela is liberating Venezuela from the regime. So this is news coming from Venezuela media itself. Now, CNN produced a video and a report basically saying that the U.S. government carried out a second strike on a drug boat. Now, many people are saying this drug boat it could be from Venezuela. Let's
We're learning new details about one of those deadly U.S. strikes on alleged drug boats in the Caribbean. Sources tell CNN the U.S. military carried out a follow-up strike on September 2nd after becoming aware of survivors in the water. The sources tell us that prior to the strike, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth had ordered the military to ensure everyone on board was killed. People briefed on the, quote, double tap strike say they're concerned that it could violate the law of armed conflict, which prohibits the execution of an enemy combatant who is taken out of the fight due to injury or surrender. Now, since September, as you're seeing on your screen here, the U.S. military has carried out at least 21 known strikes on suspected drug trafficking boats, killing at least 83 people. Officials have also acknowledged, though, not knowing the identities of everyone on board before they are struck. And this development comes as President Trump says the U.S. military will soon begin land strikes on alleged drug trafficking networks in Venezuela.
Now, we've seen President Trump speak about this whole Venezuela situation. I think I spoke about this earlier today. Let me see if I can get this pulled back up. So this was President Trump, I believe on the 27th, speaking about this whole situation.
By land also.
Let's listen.
And we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warn them, stop sending poison to our country. We also have the 18th.
Now, this is President Trump basically saying that we stopped them at sea, but now what he's about to do, we're about to stop him at land. So that's what CNN is about to dive into in the next part of this video. Let's play it.
I want to bring in Beth Stanner, a CNN national security analyst and former deputy director of national intelligence. Thank you for taking the time. I just want to start with getting your reaction to the reporting we have here that double tap strikes were ordered to make sure everybody on board was killed.
Right. If this is true,
yeah,
it's really shocking.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this in the context of Ukraine. And right now, Russian soldiers are being accused of war crimes, and their cases in the International Court of Justice because they're killing prisoners, Ukrainian armed combatants who are prisoners, and they're killing them instead of, keeping them as prisoners.
This ain't got nothing to do with Russia and Ukraine. Y'all see how CNN tried to spin this. This has nothing to do with Russia. They're narco terrorists, bro.
So, I mean, here we have an example of an actual war and war crimes accusation. So here, what does this do, in terms of U.S. moral authority? There's reporting this week of Israel, of IDF soldiers killing Palestinian prisoners, Hamas prisoners. How can we go to Israel and say, like, you shouldn't have done that? Or Russia?
Yeah. This arena we've been talking a lot about Venezuela on a number of fronts. Obviously, there are these efforts that the administration says they're going after drug trafficking boats. There is the not so subtle pushes against Nicolás Maduro that President Trump has been leading. But the president also says that land action would now be part of the administration's effort to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers. I just wonder what you think about that threshold being crossed here.
It's a big threshold,
yeah.
Right? I mean, right now we're in international waters, but when you're talking about strikes in a sovereign country against, these are drug traffickers, bad people, but it is still in another country. And so there usually has to be a justification. And there is a process for that. You can get authorization for use of military force from Congress that helps on that. But there's an entire international legal system too. And that's what people are worried about.
How is this illegal force when they're crossing the border in our airspace, in our water space, getting narcotics into our country? How is this? Like, I'm not getting CNN with this, bro. Normally I'll be with y'all, but I'm not getting this.
About, kind of in this context of the video that the Democratic senators put out recently about defying illegal orders, and the question about whether people who are conducting them could be subject to being prosecuted.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot involved here. I do wonder, though, whether President Trump actually will do it, or whether we're just kind of in this game of chicken. I was thinking about this because he has this quote that he said in another context about, waiting until the very last minute to make a decision about conducting such an activity, because, in war, things change. That's the quote. And so, sometimes we don't really know where we're either up to that line of the last minute, or whether we're still in this kind of pressure campaign, trying to see if something will happen inside Venezuela, whether this kind of pressure will generate activity to oust Maduro.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of people are looking at, okay, is this all part of an encroachment effort to oust Nicolás Maduro, who President Trump has said his days are numbered? Earlier this week, the president designated Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his government allies as members of a foreign terrorist organization. I just wonder, we've got these individual sort of storylines popping up. What do you see as the bigger picture here? Is the bigger picture to try and get Maduro out of office?
I mean, I think, sure. I think, Lindsey Graham has said as much, very close to the president. I think that that's where we are. But I don't think that.
Let's read this. It says U.S. Venezuela tension, more than a dozen U.S. warships and 15,000 troops in the region. U.S. designated cartel de los Soles as a foreign terrorist organization, Maduro and government allies as members. 83 people killed in 21 U.S. attacks on alleged drug boats, bro. Now, this is President Trump right here. This is the full response here. If I can get this blown up. Let me see if I can blow this up for you guys here. Let me see. Let me see if I can blow this up for you guys. Let's go here. This is the one that I want to show you guys real quick. Listen.
In recent weeks, you've been working to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers, of which there are many. Of course, there aren't too many coming in by sea anymore, if you probably noticed that. From sending their poisons into the United States, where they kill hundreds of thousands of people a year. But we're going to take care of that situation. We're already doing a lot. We've almost stopped. It's about 85% stopped by sea. You probably noticed that. People aren't wanting to be delivering by sea. and we'll be starting to stop them by land also. The land is easier, but that's going to start very soon. We warned them, stop sending poison to our country. And in recent weeks, you've been working to deter Venezuelan drug traffickers, of which there are
comment section right now. Keep them bells on. I will be back with another one. And until next time, I am John the Liquidator, and this has been another episode of the Liquidator Report. I'm out of here. Peace out.